get some lyrics. We need to get some lyrics to that old music. One day I'll fly away. Make sure everything is on the screen so I can see it all beautifully here, so that we know what is going on. Good. Welcome. Episode 65 of the Scott Gibson Show. I am Scott Gibson. Who else would I effing be? Listen back to a couple of episodes just to hear some of the things that we had discussed. I was not only disgusted with myself, but I have to say that the last few episodes have been very sweary. Very sweary. A lot of C-bombs. A lot of C-bombs getting dished out left, right and centre. I don't know if that is a deep-lying manifestation of anger that's on the inside, and possibly it is. Possibly it is. Some good news. Number one, the UK is now number one for COVID deaths in the whole world. Every single country that exists on this sphere. We're tapping a tree. Numero uno. It's like the old days of the Empire. Huh? Wherever we went, death would follow. You know? And you can always count on that. You can count on that. Wherever the Empire would go, death, a strong cup of tea, cricket, and the Protestant church, you know, would follow. And now, like those days when we were feared, once again, fear runs across this awful land we call Great Britain. Number one for deaths. Trump's out. As you are listening to this, yesterday was his last day. The Beau Biden is coming in. Trump's out. They've had to change the Wi-Fi passwords. I imagine it's been fucking carnage in that White House. I have fully imagined he's left a shite in the bedside table. Super glued down all his mugs. It's going to be, if Joe Biden thinks that he's going to go to the inauguration and then get in his bed in the White House and have a cracking sleep, what a fuck. He's going to have to move into a hotel, possibly one of the Trump hotels, for a week till they fucking sort the place out. I have no idea the clean-up operation that is going to be involved in removing the Trumps from the White House so that the new administration can take place. But what a job that's going to be. What a job. So yes, number one, Trump's on his way out. There's snow in the Sahara Desert. Very much one of the signs of the apocalypse. You know, life isn't all doom and gloom, or is it? Is the big question. And you know, it's not looking great. I like many of you, I imagine, I'm now done with it all. I'm just done. I'm finished with it. I've had enough. I can't handle it anymore. I feel like I'm going a little bit crazy, and it's the monotonous Groundhog Day, the constant repetitiveness, the getting up, you know, breakfast, lunch, just stuck in these same four walls, sitting at this desk, doing the podcast. It's such a strange situation that we still find ourselves in. Almost a year down the line, still dealing with the repetitiveness now. I think that's the thing that's getting to me the most. It's the repetitiveness. And there is generally no sign of it easing. Really, no sign of it easing. I read an article today that was talking about the 2022 Commonwealth Games potentially being postponed. And I mean, first of all, I was like, I didn't even know the Commonwealth Games was still a fucking thing. Turns out it is. Turns out the next one, 2022 in Birmingham, I believe, is potentially being postponed because they're unsure as to whether or not, maybe not, things will be relaxed by then, because I imagine we'll probably be back into some kind of tier structure within the next few months, but whether or not it'll be enough that, you know, full international travel's on again. I mean, we only need to look at the absolute fiasco that is becoming the Australian Open, the tennis. they've brought people over there, and it seems as now as if all the players are quarantined in the hotels. One of the players, and I can't remember her name because I don't watch tennis because I'm not a Tory, posted a video of her doing a 5K in her bedroom, in her hotel room, because they've to quarantine in the hotel rooms. They can't leave the rooms. So she's having to keep up her fitness regime in a hotel room. And this isn't like some kind of suite. This is a hotel room. She's literally just running back and forward the length of the room to run a 5K. And you're thinking, what the fuck is going on, man? What's going on? But you would have seen this. You would have seen the news that the UK is now number one. And to be fair to Boris Johnson, many have doubted him. Many have doubted the man's ability to lead this country back to greatness. And here he is, a couple of years into his tenure. And he's got us to number one, man. I mean, there was a time when America was so far out in front. You wouldn't think we could catch them, come close to them. But here we are. The UK now is the highest COVID death rate in the world. Nearly 1,000 people are dying each day on average in the UK. Meanwhile, New Zealand has not recorded a single death since September. Why is that? Why is that? We are... COVID is continually reported daily on the news. I talk about it in this podcast every fucking week. And trust me, it does my head in. I still don't understand how somewhere like New Zealand, even parts of Australia, can have it lifted. New Zealand not recording a single death since September. What the fuck are we doing differently? Or what are we doing wrong? Not differently, what are we doing wrong? This article is from The Independent. Now, it is a couple of days old because, like I said, it was announced a few days ago that we'd gone back to numero uno. The UK now has the highest death rate of COVID-19 for any country in the world, the latest data has revealed. On average, 935 daily deaths in the UK over the last week was the equivalent of more than 16 people in every million dying each day from the virus. Figures compiled by University of Oxford-based research platform Our World in Data show that no other country matches the UK's per capita rate of deaths. Come on! Let me read that again. No other country matches the UK's per capita rate of deaths. Number one. The UK overtook Czech Republic. Who knew it was even that bad in Czech Republic? Which had held the top spot since 11th of January. Oh, they must have been gutted after the government published the latest coronavirus deaths on Sunday night. The weekend's figures tend to be lower due to a lag in reporting, meaning the number of new daily cases in the UK will likely rise once again when the new figures are announced on Monday. So here we go. Top 30 countries by COVID-19 death rate. 7-day average of new daily coronavirus deaths per million. And this is from the 17th of January 2021. And of that, so this is deaths per million people. And of the deaths per million, the United Kingdom is at 16.55, followed quickly by Czech Republic in second place at 16.32, so not much really to separate them. And then it gets interesting because the countries underneath that are Portugal and Slovakia. Portugal and Slovakia both have a death rate per million. Portugal 14.82, Slovakia 14.55. The numbers themselves maybe don't, resonate that much or mean that much to you if it's deaths per million. So we're talking about per capita deaths. But if you are discussing countries such as the United Kingdom, a rich country, a wealthy country with an established National Health Service, established police force, established chains of response for something like a global pandemic. And we are up there with countries like Czech Republic, Portugal, Slovakia, and Lithuania. Now, I've been to Portugal, I've not been to Czech Republic, I've not been to Slovakia, I've not been to Lithuania. I can guarantee you these countries are not as rich as the United Kingdom, and from the little experience I've had of, said, Portugal, they are in no way as equipped as we are to deal with something like a global pandemic. Yet our death rate is higher than all of these countries, higher than any country in the world. Down that list, you've got Sweden. We know that Sweden's numbers are starting to soar because they had such a long period of time when they had nothing in place. They weren't wearing masks, they weren't distancing, they weren't quarantining, they weren't anything. And then they've had a hit of the pandemic, and so they've almost caught up with the rate of infection for the rest of the world. But even again, countries underneath that on this list, and this is the countries most affected per capita, so per million of head in the country. You have countries like Slovenia, Andorra, Panama, Hungary, Latvia, South Africa, Croatia, Poland. Countries that are, as I said, not as developed, not as equipped to deal with these kind of things as we are, yet our death rate swamps them. Bottom of the list is Israel, 5.51 per million capita. France, at the bottom, 5.55, very low rate in France. Lebanon, 6.28. Let's look at the states. United States of America. Remember, this is per capita, right? So they will have more deaths than us because they have a bigger country, they have more population. But United States of America is only 10.03. And we're at 16.55. Jesus fucking wept. A further 671 COVID deaths recorded on Sunday brings the total number of confirmed deaths from the virus in the UK to 89,261. Now, it's not a huge number, and I've spoken about this before. It's not a huge number. 89,000 is what fucking Old Trafford, right? It's a horrible number. These are 89,000 people who have died. And when we start to report these back again, we would do the whole fucking Sky News death toll. Dong! 16 dead! Bring out your dead! We forget that these are people. This is 89,261 people who have died. 89,000 families who have been ripped apart. 89,000 families who are probably unable to attend a fucking funeral for their loved ones. Be by their bedside when they're battling this disease. So there is very much a humanity aspect detached from it, from the way that they report in this country. But 89,000 deaths, man, it's insane. You know, it's insane. And the worrying thing is, it's sat about 50,000 for a long time. You know, it's sat about 50,000 towards the end of last year for a long time. We're now at almost 90,000. We're about to double it within the space of, a month? 6 weeks? The article, like I said, Independent goes on to say this is the highest cumulative death toll in Europe and ranks only behind USA, Brazil, India and Mexico globally, all of which countries have far higher populations. The UK has experienced more than 3.4 million confirmed infections, the equivalent of 1 in every 20 people. Max Rosa, a University of Oxford researcher and the founder of Our World in Data, said our countries took quicker and more decisive action in the early stages of the pandemic. The last COVID death in New Zealand was in mid-September, he tweeted. UK death rate is now higher than it was during the first major wave of the COVID-19 infection in April, when it peaked at 13 million people daily. Latest government figures also reveal the number of people in hospital with COVID-19 is much higher than the first peak, suggesting the number of new daily cases will continue to rise. It's worrying, man. You know, but we talk about these new strands. We talk about the NHS being overwhelmed. I mean, I'm starting to get a bit. You know, I'm starting to question again the situation with the NHS because, and obviously we are still dealing with a vast number of people who have illnesses and who have sicknesses that are not COVID related, right? I think that we are forgetting about that. It almost feels as if everything else has been put on hold because COVID is the big thing. And it must be quite a frightening time. I imagine it must be terrifying if you are, for example, God forbid, dealing with cancer at this moment in time. I also think it would be fucking terrifying if you were pregnant at this moment in time. I would be beside myself if my missus was pregnant right now. I'd be fucking shitting my pants. I'd be scared for them to get in the hospital. I'd be scared for somebody to visit at home. It must be a terrifying time in your life if you are unfortunately battling any kind of illness at the moment. Now, the other side of that coin, and let's start having that discussion. I'd like to see that more readily in the media. I imagine the vast volume of negligent cases and just fucking, let's just say what it is, fucking pensioners rocking up to their GP, rocking up to accident emergencies, rocking up to us when there's fuck all wrong with them. I imagine that has dramatically reduced. But if the focus just now is still on dealing with COVID and wards being overwhelmed or doctors being overwhelmed or hospitals being overwhelmed, explain to me exactly what is involved in the process of dealing with a COVID victim. Because that's what I don't understand. Because it seems, again, as a completely ill-informed person on the outside looking in, you come in, you're put in a ward or a bed, you're quarantined, you're on a ventilator, you're on a series of drugs, which they, at this point I would hope they know makes a difference. And then it's a fucking countdown clock. Let's see how filling full of fluids. Let's hope you get better. What is the overwhelming element? Just the number of people that are coming in, the lack of beds, the lack of equipment. What is it that's being overwhelmed? Number one, no man. Number one in the world for COVID deaths. It is fucking terrifying. I am also genuinely absolutely amazed that I have not got it. Amazed. I can't be the only one. You must be. If you're listening to this and you've not had COVID, there must be a little bit of you going, I cannot understand how I've not got it. Now, yes, I'm careful. We don't go anywhere. There's nowhere to fucking go, right? I don't. You know, I'm not. I don't go and see friends. I'm not one of these people that like goes and hangs out in people's gardens. Or I go and hang out in gardens, man. I'm sure there's people who, you know, hid in gardens long before COVID was a thing. But I'm not. What I mean is that I'm not that type of person. And you know what? Let's just be honest. I've really got nothing against those people. I mean, they're obviously no helping, right? Obviously, there are a lot of people who are no helping the current situation, but so I don't go anywhere. I'm in the house. I take a dog for a walk, and I genuinely try to avoid people. Now, I did that long before COVID started. I've never really been comfortable in large crowds. I don't like busy places. My thing I hated long before coronavirus and lockdown, I hated a busy restaurant or a busy cafe or a busy bar. I fucking hated it. I like space. I like a bit of calm. I like a bit of quiet. That's the way I've always liked it. So I do generally try and avoid people. Even today, again, we go out for a big walk at lunchtime. So I take tour manager in the morning. He gets a big walk at lunch. He gets a big walk when my missus finishes her work at 6. And then he'll get a walk again at night, and then he goes out for a pee, and that's his day, right? And he loves it. He's loving lockdown, man. 4 big walks and then out for a pee for his bed. Loves it. Even again today, lunchtime, 1 o'clock, walking around the part of Edinburgh where I live. The streets are fucking swamped. It's as if there's a new Greg's opening somewhere. The volume of people that are in the street is fucking alarming. Not one of the bastards got a dog. If every fucker in the street had a dog, I'd be like, Christ, it's a busy time for dog walks. They're just fucking out. Where are you going? What the fuck are you doing? Cannot still, to this day, all the restrictions, all the lockdowns, everything's happening, I still cannot believe the sheer volume of people that are out in the street. But what's going to change, man? I'm trying to not make this all doom and gloom, but I'm just at that point now where I'm at my wit's end. You know, it's not even now like how long. I mean, realistically, if I don't get back to gigging again, right? Gigs don't open, theatres don't open, we can't tour, we can't go and do shows. You could probably stretch that out for another year, right? If I had to, I could stretch it out for the rest of this year, right? Start back gigging again, touring in 2022, right? If I had to, if that worst case scenario, I could see that through. Because I've got the podcast, I'd try and do some other bits and pieces, maybe we'll do some more online stuff, whatever it be. But you'll find a way to be creative or keep that flowing, right? But the one thing I cannot cope with, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to last, is just being in the house, just being stuck here. And I was talking about this the other day, and I'm starting to think, I wonder if it's certain groups of people who are still causing the problems, who are still causing the rise in infection rate, who are still not following the rules. And I'm thinking it's two groups of people, and it's the kind of either end of that social scale. Because realistically, if you're a man or a woman or a couple or a family, whoever you are, and before this you didn't work, you're on benefits, right? You know how to play the system. You tick all the boxes, you do the right things, you know what to say to a GP, you get yourself signed off, you're on your benefits. That's your life. It's a life you knew. Your family done that. You got yourself a council house at 16. You've been signed off. You're quite happy. You pick up your benefits. And your life before lockdown was you sat in the house, you watched daytime TV, you went to the pub, and you got pished with your other wee fucking daft pals, and you sat about the house. And then COVID's hit, and you still get your benefits. Nothing's changed there. Everything in your life is the exact same. Only difference now is you can't go to the pub, but the pub comes to the house. So you still have your pals over, because none of you will get sick yet. Doesn't really matter. You don't really understand the consequences of it. And you're mixing, and you're doing the things you shouldn't be doing. But to you it's no problem, because you've not really broke anything out with the little existence that you had. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And then the other end of it is the people who are affluent. You know, the upper classes. We've seen umpteen posts. You know, oh, Boris saying he's closing the corridor. Well, in that case, we've packed the bags and we've taken the family off to Bali. And they're fucking... And backwards and forwards to Dubai. Or any country that'll have them. Constantly having breaks, constantly on holidays, in and out. God knows what's passing as they travel, bringing in and out the house. Staff still there, they still got the cleaner going. It seems as if there's two ends of the spectrum that are just continue to try and exist as much as they can with their normal life, and kind of blinkered as to how they play a part in all this. And then there's the rest of us that are just all lumped in together, that are doing our bit. We're only going to the supermarket once a fortnight, if that. You know, we're getting stuff delivered to the house. We're no seeing friends. We're no seeing family. We're no making unnecessary travel. We're not doing the things we shouldn't be doing. We're washing our hands. We're doing everything we're meant to be doing. But it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, or any kind of escape is pushed back, and there's going to come a point where it feels as if there's going to be some kind of fucking unrest. I don't know what it's not going to be as bad as America, man. I don't think so. But I mean, even look at the state of that situation as well. They've had to lock down a fucking city because they're unsure as to what's going to happen. There's been the National Guard that's been brought in. There was an article the other day in the paper about they were putting them all through interrogation questions because they were concerned that some people in the fucking National Guard, whatever the fuck they're called, may have been extreme Trump supporters and are infiltrated the National Guard. They're going to fucking kick off the inauguration. What the fuck is happening, man? They're starting to get a bit of a feeling that goodwill we had at the start of, we're all going to come out as better people and everything's going to be great and happy. That's not only is that fucking gone, that's never coming back. That feeling of, you know, fucking, let's all just be kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. Go and get some shopping for your neighbour. Why not everybody meet in the hallway and just say things that are thankful for? And let's all plant a wee tree in the bottom of the garden. That's fucking gone. And that's gone for good. The feeling now is, look after number one, protect yourself. That's the kind of sense that I'm getting. And it's worrying, man. It's worrying because it's hard to break that again. Because we've gone down this road for so long now that people need a release, you know? The average person needs a release. I don't know what that release will be. Who knows? Let's hope it's soon, though, man. Let's hope it's fucking soon. Because we all need... I think we could all do a wee release, you know? We could all do a wee... Just something, you know? Just something. A night in the pub. I've never really been a big drinker. But it's hard to explain. I cannot put any words just how much I miss just an old Sunday. Just a Sunday. going for a walk, getting to a pub, getting a pint, going getting some lunch, getting a coffee, getting a wee shop. I can't explain. I think that's what I miss. That little routine or that bit of normal life. That's what I miss. You know, I'm not thinking grand things. I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm going to travel every country in the South Equator and the African continent. None of that shite. Because again, normal people aren't like that. You know, COVID's not going to end and we're not going to fucking travel to the Incas. There's no way it's going to be. But I am missing things like being able to walk about and go into a pub, go into a coffee shop. I'm missing being able to take a laptop or a notepad, sit in a coffee shop with a coffee and doing a bit of work. I am desperately missing that. And here we are with the highest death rate per capita in the world. Fucking hell. Wash your hands, man. Wash your fucking hands and your arsehole, as I've been saying for fucking weeks. So yes, Trump on the way out. You'll be listening to this on the 20th, which is the inauguration of Mr. Trump. I think things are going to get worse in America. I really do. And I don't know. I'm just very skeptical of, the status quo in the old way. And it feels as if America is returning to the way things used to be, No, and listen, I know that, and I am not, I don't have any fucking skin in the game, man, right? But I'm not going to argue that the Biden administration is not night and day better for the country and the world than the Trump administration. But will the changes be what I think some of the lefties in this country think? I don't think so, man. The big things is going to be like healthcare and gun control, right? Look at those two little things that have dominated American politics for forever. Joe Biden's going in as a Democratic president, controlling the House, a Democratic-controlled House. He's got literally nothing to stand in his way. He's got nothing to stop him making the changes to that country that he wants, other than political infighting, right? Which will start within a couple of months. The health structure and bringing in some kind of national health service or health care for all Americans, it looks as if, it has to happen. It's got to happen at some point. Some kind of health cover has to happen at some point, and I think that will go in. But things like gun control, we all know, right? Most educated people know that is never going to change in America. It's never going to change. Even as much good as Biden, I would be utterly amazed if anything happens with regards to gun control in America. It's just such an alien concept for us, Like my dad lived in Atlanta for about 10 years, right? Almost 10 years. In fact, even maybe more, but the whole time he was in America. But he was in Atlanta, and I remember that him and his ex-wife, they bought a house. They moved into a house after a couple of years, and they bought it off plan. So it was a kind of new development was being built, and they bought this house. And I remember my dad telling me, because when I went in, there was a kind of, just behind the door, there was a kind of almost like a small alcove, which I thought was a bit weird at the start, but there are some things in the house that are a bit quirky. And then the house was kind of on 3 levels. As you came in the front door, there was a door to your right, which went down to the den, as they called it. And there was a kind of like a man cave, but off of that was a bedroom that was en suite, and it had a utility room, and it had another 2 rooms off it. So it could almost be set up as like a granny flat or a separate living accommodation, right? You then had the main part of the house, which was the kitchen and living room, dining room, all in this kind of one kind of level and kind of large area, went out into a decking, back garden, and then up a set of steps, which was the kind of bedroom. So there was 3 bedrooms and a bathroom off there, right? And that's the kind of 3 levels to this house. So it's American house. It's fucking massive, And I always remember laughing because my dad, when he left Scotland, lived in a place called Erskine, which I'm sure a lot of you know. And we were laughing because the house that he bought in America was the same value in pounds sterling as the house that he sold in Erskine. And you probably could have put that house in Erskine inside this house maybe 4 or 5 times. So it was just, but again, that's what America is. So there was this alcove behind the door, and when you went into the den, there was an alcove again, which was in one of the rooms, and it was the same kind of alcove, is the only way I can describe it, almost like it was as if a bookcase had been started to get built in the wall and then covered up. And that was to be gun lockers. That was for gun lockers, right? And when my dad was buying it, the guy's going through and, I want my plugs there and I want the sink there and she wants this there and and walk-in closet, whatever the fuck it is. And one of the parts of the conversation, one of the parts of the plan was, Mr. Gibson, where would you like the gun closets to be? And my dad laughed. And went, I don't know, I'm not going to have them. And the look of shock in the man's face. Now, this wasn't it wasn't a rough area at all. It wasn't a high. It was just a normal area, right? It wasn't like high flying or just where normal people would live in a nice new development in Atlanta. And the guy was shocked when my dad said he didn't want them. And I think even the planners themselves must have been shocked because they would have just been so used to putting the cabinets in because they didn't know what to do. Instead of just, making it flat or putting a bit of MDF up or plasterboard or something, they still designed it for the cabinets to have gone in and just left these kind of strange alcoves. Now, eventually my dad ended up getting a gun. And I think he got it out of, certainly not necessity or want. I think he got it because... Excuse me, and I don't know because I never asked him, but I genuinely think he got it because he could. And that was it. He got a gun because he could get one. Never done it anyway. I don't think he ever fired it. But I think he just got one because he could get it. And it was just something you did. Now, even if you were to look at the way in which that comes into your psyche, honestly, if I was to ask myself, if we had the same access to guns in this country as they do in America, would I have a gun? And I probably would. If it was as easy for me to get a gun in this country as it is in America, if I was an American citizen living in America, the ease in which I could get a gun, I probably would have one here. Now, would I do it anyway? No. Would I fire it? Probably not. Where am I going to go and fire it? Shoot it at seagulls, squirrels. So why? What is my desire for it, if you want? And even if they went down that process and tried to make that a bit more difficult, just if you're never going to be able to ban guns completely because of the Second Amendment or the First Amendment or whatever the fuck amendment it is going on. How dare my forefather said to me that I got to have a gun? How dare you take away my liberties? I got a gun, bitch. If you can't stop it for that, right? For a bit of paper signed 100 odd years ago, 200 odd years ago, whatever the fuck it was signed, and you can't remove guns because of that, legislate it. Put so much fucking bureaucracy behind it that make it impossible to get a gun. And just make it very simple. The process involved to get a license to then go and buy a gun. Make that the most difficult process that anyone will ever go through. Make it the most form heavy, the most complex background. Make it the most difficult process for you to go through to then simply have a license that then enables you to then go into a gun shop and buy a gun. Alright, so you've already gone through that process. Then when you get the gun, make the actual process and the waiting period in which you have to wait to get it, make that a stupid length of time. Make it a year. Make it a year. Fuck it. If you cannot stop people from buying them, put so much legislation behind it, you would remove the people like my dad, for example, who would get one just for the sake of having it. Those people have now been removed. So that in itself has probably taken a couple of million guns off the streets. And then when you get the gun, just have daft things like, okay, every 2 weeks, you have to bring the gun back to the shop it was registered in. and it has to be serviced. And it's going to be $50 to have it serviced every 2 weeks. So that's $100 a month. And your gun has to be serviced in the store that you bought it. If you leave the state, so if you move somewhere else, you go another part of America, you have to turn the gun in to the police department. You then start the process all over again in your new state, and then your old gun will come and meet you at some point in the line. Put so much legislation behind it, you don't need it. And I was trying to think about it, and I'm going like, what is it about it that I would want? Or why do some Americans just have them? And I'm thinking, right, break it down to something that I can understand. Panini sticker albums. Now, I know you're going, big man, you're stretching here. Hang on with me, right? Panini sticker albums. I don't know why I still do a Panini sticker album. I've only ever completed one in my life, and it was the most painstaking experience. The deals that were being brokered on that school playground would have made a fucking investment banker cry. You know, I was bent over a barrel once for a fucking shiny, dishing out £40 worth of fucking stickers. I'm basically completing 2 national teams for a cunt because he had me by the short and curlies because I needed one shiny. Now, I go into a Tesco, Morrison's, whatever, any fucking supermarket you want, and I can get a Panini sticker album, right? I can buy the wee packets of stickers. I don't know why I do it, but I just do it, you know? Do I like it? Not particularly. You know, I maybe enjoy it the first couple of times, and then I kind of cross that threshold where suddenly it starts to become expensive, or suddenly I'm starting to get a bit frustrated by it, you know? Now, if I went down to Tesco, and they say to me, Panini sticker album, big man, no problem. Listen, you just need to fill in this form, and we need 2 forms of identification, and then we can give you the sticker album. I'm like, get the fuck. I'm done. Now, there might be some people who go, but I really want that Panini sticker album, so I'll fill that out. If they then say to me, you've got to bring that Panini sticker album back in here every 2 weeks, and we've got to assess it to make sure that you've put the stickers in the right place, on the right pages, and within the borders, it's also going to cost you an administration fee of £25 for a member of staff to check that over. You better stick up your fucking ass. But then there'll still be people who are like, right, I'll bring it back in here because I really want that. I think that the Americans need to get clever with that kind of stuff. And I think that if you are really setting out to try and make a difference, you need to stop trying to appeal to people's better nature, because it's clear when it comes to some things like that, there are some Americans who just cannot be budged and are not willing to listen to reason. You're not willing to listen to any discussion on it or any valid points of concern. So you just have to devise a way to go around it, and you go around it by making it incredibly difficult and or very expensive to get it. I know it's not anyway in the same level, but you look at what happened with knife crime in Glasgow. When the police got together and they brought in these task force and they says, look, it's as simple as this. You know, we're going to have an amnesty, and if you want to hand over any weapons, no fucking questions asked. And I suppose, to be fair to the police, whether or not you believe it, allegedly, no questions were asked. You know? Victor Morris was fucking shiting himself. The amount of people walking in handing over crossbows and samurai swords. Where the fuck did you get that from me, man? Victor, say no more. Say no more. And then the police turned around and said, if you are caught with a knife on the streets of Glasgow, you'll serve a severe prison term. And it was lengthy. I don't know how long it was, but if I remember rightly, it was 5 years plus. There was, and I can remember. Now, I was never a. Yes, you do daft things when you're a boy. You kick about and maybe you fucking get up to a wee bit of no good, steal some milk, spray paint the wall. But there was never any crime in it. Certainly never any violence when I was young. But we were certainly aware. There was a real fear. Whatever you do, do not fucking carry a knife, man. Because if you get caught with it, you're fucking done. Maybe that's the way to go down. Maybe there's some kind of legalization or criminalisation for if you are caught with unregistered weapons. You're sentenced to a long jail term. But then, that just gets into further problems because American jails are fucking overcrowded as it is, and that just becomes big business, and the fucking thing continues on, and God knows what's going to happen. But anyway, Trump is leaving. All the best to him. He's packed his bags and he's Oski, and it's a mad situation. I don't think anybody thought this is how it was going to end. for Trump. I thought he was going to go in a blazing glory. I really did. I thought he was going to hold one last press conference. I think he was going to stand my big book and go, right, cunts, and he was just going to go through people and do all the skeletons in the closet. But it seems as if he's going to be removed kicking and screaming. And then poor Melania is stuck for another couple of years. She thought she would fucking ride him to death, but he's hung on in there. I've got a wee bit here. Says American political advisor Mark McKinnon says Donald Trump is going out as the least popular president in US history. Oh, certainly the most decisive anyway. But I'll be watching the inauguration. Hopefully it goes smoothly. And I think now there's a lot of work to be done on the new president coming in to try and get some kind of stability back, if you like. But does that really concern us? I mean, I just want to get back gigging, so whatever the fuck America needs to do, just hurry up and make it happen, man. If you can get me back gigging soon, man, or anybody, Sturgeon, Boris Johnson, whatever you want, if you can get me back on a stage soon, I'll do whatever you fucking ask. I'm already doing everything I'm told. I'm staying in, wash my hands, no going out. Fucking come on! Oh, God almighty. Right, let's take a look at let's look at some funnier news stories, shall we say? Some more light-hearted news stories rather than the doom and gloom that is COVID in America. Now, I've got one that was sent to me by Stephen Harry Wilson, and Stephen, thank you very much indeed for sending me that. Couple of questions as well. In fact, let's do some questions, shall we? And then we'll finish off with the news stories. Amy has asked on Instagram, and quite a few people have asked, so thank you to those who did. They asked, how did Murphy the Two Magic go into the vets? Let me just say, back in today for his checkup, passed with flying colours, the wee man. I don't know if I mentioned this on this podcast or if it was on the Sunday service on Patreon, but he had to get 8 teeth out in the end. Now, I never even knew a dog had 8 teeth. I'm going to be honest with you. We had to get one of his wee tiny wee baby teeth. Oh, bad boy. And his front row taken out. So yes, he had to get 8 teeth taken out and a kind of wee abscess thing in his gum fixed. But absolutely fine. Tickety-boo, yes, tickety-boo. No swelling, no bleeding. None of his stitches have burst. The vet was very happy. And he's back to normal. Do you know what? Dogs are resilient, man. They're mad things. I remember once he fucking ripped one of his claws, one of his nails off, and literally we just bounced back like it was no problem. Blood pissing all over his fur. It looked like he'd been in a massacre because he's white, and he's just walking about going like, "What's everybody getting all worked up for?" Now imagine if somebody ripped your nail off. I'd never stop talking about it. But he said all well and good, so he's doing well, and he can back having his dry food and his crispy treats again, so he's more than happy. But thank you to everybody who got in touch to ask about it, and again thank you to everybody who played the quiz at the new year when we did it to raise some money towards his vet bills, which was disgusting, as a vet bill always is. So Amy, thank you very much for your question, and thank you to everybody else who did get in touch with that. Right, so Morris Stewart. Morris asked on Facebook, Morris Stewart's question is, Joey Diaz, unrecognised comedy genius or unfunny gobshite riding on the back of celeb friends? I'm a fan of Joey Diaz. I don't know, I think I suppose he splits people. If you don't know who he is, Joey Diaz, American comedian. He's been around for years and years and years. Became a bit more kind of well known out with the comedy circuit or comedy fans probably in the last couple of years because he's very, very close friends with Joe Rogan. So he's on Joe Rogan Experience quite a lot. He's one of my favourite guests on Joe Rogan because he's had such a colourful life. It's one way to put it. So his stories are just unbelievable. You know, they're literally unbelievable. He's almost like and I don't want to say this the wrong way, he's almost like a fossil, but not in a bad way. Like he literally is, because his mind's still so sharp and he's just so good at telling a story. you forget that he's as old as he is, because the way he talks sometimes, I think it's as if this just happened last week, but this has happened in like the 70s. You know, he's had such an amazing life that the stories he tells is great. Now, I have seen 2 bits of stand-up from Joey Diaz. I've never been able to get to see a full show, so I would really like to see a full show before I kind of passed any judgment on the stand-up, because the 2 bits that I've seen, both of which were for Comedy Central, so from the little knowledge that I've got of televised comedy, although it is different in America, I imagine both of those sets were, in fact, I know just simply by looking at them, that both of those sets were, one was heavily edited, and the other one I imagine would have been heavily censored, so I know they would have been told certain things that he can and cannot say, and both of which the audiences I don't think would have suited his style. So I would love to see or listen to a full hour special from Joey Diaz in front of his own audience doing his own thing. But again, it'd be interesting to see whether or not it translates to a kind of a live performance better, because there are people who are very funny people, and it's almost a conversation style, but their humour derives from almost being in a group or being in a crowd. So it's that kind of bouncing off each other or telling a story but going back and forth, and sometimes that doesn't then translate to a solo performance. So I'm not sure. Like I said, I've never seen or heard a special from him, so I'll need to actually try and check that out, try and find one and give it a listen. But certainly what I've seen in the podcast, I think he's great, and he's always got some mad stories. So check him out yourself, man. Joey Coco Diaz. You'll get him all the Rogan stuff. Any interview with him and Rogan's great. Any episodes with Rogan, I could sit and listen to them for hours, man. And it must be quite. If Joey Diaz was one of your pals, it must be a fucking good night, man. If you sit with a couple of beers and a big cigar and listen to Joey Diaz tell stories. But let me know, Moz, what do you think? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Get in touch, man. But thank you to those of you for those questions. Right, let's take a look at this story. So the first one that I've seen is Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, I don't know much about Gwyneth Paltrow. I think she's a wee bit kind of vibey, a wee bit hippie, right? She went out with that guy for Coldplay, and they've got a fucking way named Apple or Aspel or fucking Bleach 5. I don't know what it's called, right? But you may have remembered that Gwyneth Paltrow had she's got a company called Goop, and it's like lifestyle and cooking, healthy vegan fucking shit. And she brought out a range of candles that I believe smell like a fanny. And this news article, which is quite alarming, and the headline simply is Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle explodes in woman's home, causing an inferno. Now, I think the term inferno has been slightly exaggerated, although you'll see for the picture, Gwyneth Paltrow is on the right, and the exploded fanny candle is on the left, in case you were getting the two of them mixed up. But yes, Gwyneth Paltrow's fanny candle explodes in women's home, causing inferno. Now, this article is from the Metro, so we'll take that with a complete pinch of salt. But a woman has revealed how Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle exploded in her home. Gwyneth, 48, left fans pretty baffled last year when she released a candle titled "This Smells Like My Vagina" via her Goop lifestyle brand. Now, should I mean, there's no easy way to put this, but surely I would imagine that a healthy vagina, a fanny, should be like fresh fish, in the sense that if it smells, it's gone bad. That's what I mean. Hey, I imagine if there's any, sure, maybe that's the thing. I've never smelt the candle. I was going to say I've never smelt Gwyneth Paltrow's fanny. I'm not sure many people have. But maybe the candle smells of nothing. Is probably what it should smell like, Because if I lit the candle and it smelled like vanilla, I'd be like, you need to get yourself a GP here, because something's wrong with your fanny. Surely it shouldn't smell of anything. Is this a vibey hipster way of selling tea lights? There's no smell of a tea light. Is this what this is? Is Gwyneth Paltrow just selling massive tea lights in the hope that fucking, I'm just going to light the fanny candles and set my chakras? Or is she a hope that some kind of weird guys are going to watch one of her movies and light a fanny candle and then go, can you smell that, man? Oh, that's what Gwyneth's fanny smells like, mate. Oh, wow. I can't smell it. No, neither can I. It's just smell it. It's because she's got a really clean fanny. Surely, I mean, am I wrong here? Surely the candle shouldn't smell anything if it smells like a fanny. Because if there's any smell to it, there's a problem. Taking it back. Listen, my fanny candle's buggered, mate. Smells like pomegranates in an ocean breeze. Oh. Come on, Scott, read on. Some woman's been caught in an inferno. Might be slightly unusual. Right, so smells like her vagina. While it may have seemed slightly unusual at first, it went on to sell out on the Goop website. Of course it did. And has arguably become a fan favourite over time. Gwyneth's fanny candle, a fan's favourite. However, one fan got a fright when said candle reportedly caused an inferno in her home. Judy Thompson had won the Goop product in an online quiz and claims that it exploded with a 50 centimetre high flame when she tried to light it. What the fuck has happened to that fanny candle? A 50 centimetre high flame. That's a very specific height of flame. No 2 foot. No 10 feet. I mean, most people would exaggerate. Okay, Mrs. Thompson, talk me through what happened. Well, I won the fanny candle, son, on a quiz that I play with my grandkids. And I did think at the time, can it be a fanny candle, And then I thought maybe it's like a novelty one. It'll turn up like the shape of a fanny. But no, shaped like a normal candle, but apparently it smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's fanny that you last see the X-Men films. So I lit it, and then a fucking giant inferno fireball shot out the fanny, and I thought, Christ, if that's what her fanny's like, no wonder that boy left her. And it was a good 50 centimetres high. How do you know what 50 centimetres is? I mean, if you looked at something, you go, it's about 2 feet. Very exact. Question marks here. Speaking to the Sun. Well, this clears everything up if they spoke to that fucking shite rag. Speaking to the Sun, Mrs. Thompson claimed the candle exploded and emitted huge flames with bits flying everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. Maybe that's the Goop fanny experience. Well, I imagine most people listening to this podcast will never have been near a Hollywood A-list vagina. Maybe that's, maybe as you work your way up the food chain, maybe fannies react differently. Maybe if you were to put a naked flame near the actual vagina of Gwyneth Paltrow, it'd fucking shoot a fireball at you. Who knows what these mad fucking hippies are up to? All that bending and flexing. Maybe she sucks air in as a defence mechanism. In case somebody tries to present the eye of the cave with a naked flame, she's like fucking shaklaki and blows a 50 centimetre high cannonball. Who knows? Sherry, the whole thing was ablaze. It was too hot to touch. There was an inferno in the room. Mrs. Thompson said she was able to get the flames. She was able to get the flames under. I was able to get the flames under control, son. She was able to get the flames under control. And threw the candle out of the front door, adding, it could have burned the place down. Imagine your granny's house goes up and smokes. Your granny burns her house down. And you'd be like, was that faulty gas leak? No, it was that fanny candle. I thought I'd light it, There are no other candles in the house. I thought, I was interested in the smell. I was like, what does it smell like? There's no smell, but what an inferno, son. Burnt. How would you get an insurance claim for that? Although, is that direct line? I'd like to claim my house insurance. What's happened? The whole place has gone up in a fucking fireball, so it's an inferno. Of course I'll talk you through what happened. I won a fanny candle on our online quiz. What do you mean my claim's been declined? While scary at the time, an understatement, Mrs. Thompson says she now finds the whole debacle pretty funny knowing that Gwyneth's fanny smelling candle exploding in her living room. I'm glad you can laugh these things off. The candle is currently sold via Goop and doesn't come cheap, retailing at £69. Fuck off, you hippie cunt. £69 for a fanny candle? Piss off. It's made using generanium, citrusy bergamot and cedar, as well as damask rose, and described online as funny, gorgeous, sexy, and beautifully unexpected scent. Would anybody want their fanny to be described as funny? Gorgeous, I get it. Sexy, okay. Beautifully unexpected scent, even that's a push. Next time you're getting intimate with your other half, you know, and she asks you to describe the cave of love of the cave of wonders. Gorgeous, I'd open with that. Sexy, definitely throw that in, man. You know, with my fanny, like Franco, if you opened with it's a beautifully unexpected smell, you'd be on a thin line there with that one. You'd need to follow that quickly up with gorgeous, I love, very, very sexy. Oh, Franco, thanks. Now, if you ended with funny, my fanny's funny, you'd never see that fanny again. That must be a difficult one. Somebody's having to sit down and describe a smell. That's a tough one, you know. That's up there with the aroma of a wine. I'm getting blossom and apple. No, you're not. It's wine. You're either getting vinegar. That's it. People, when they do wine tasting notes, cherry blossom, apple, a slight piece of citron tartatan, caramelized apple, sawdust, dry, raw cashew nut coming through at the end, and I believe, yes, I'm getting some maple syrup as well. You drink wine, you're like, how vinegary is it? Is it very vinegary, or is it not very vinegary? That's it. I mean, can you imagine being put into a room, you know, you've just got a job at Goop, you're like, I've got a job at Goop, man. Who the fuck's Goop? It's Gwyneth Paltrow's mad company, but it's fucking hundreds of money in it, well-paid job. It's all mad vibey shit. I'll be totally cool. Okay, Franco, if you'd like to come and welcome to Goop, part of the Goop family. We're bringing out a new range of candles. Oh, great, man. Okay, home candles for the home. And the first one that we're launching is actually Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle. I'm going to stop with you. I thought you said vagina candle. Let's connect, Franco, yeah. So what we need to do is just sit down with the candles and just describe the smell. You want me to describe the smell of Gwyneth Paltrow's fanny candle? Yes, please. And that poor guy came up with funny, gorgeous, sexy, and beautifully unexpected scent. Previously speaking out about the candle, Gwyneth argued that it's more than a candle. It's a punk rock statement. Gwyneth Paltrow clearly not understanding what punk rock is. Because if it was punk rock, you wouldn't charge £69 for it. You'd give it away for free, you fucking dick. Speaking to Ellen DeGeneres, another punk rock fanny, Gwyneth revealed she made This Smells Like My Vagina candle to challenge the idea that women have been taught to have a certain amount of shame about their body. I don't know if that's the place to start, because I'd say if you've got a smelly fanny, there should be a little bit of shame in there. Same way if you've got a smelly bobby. You know? Listen, it's a two-way street, lads. If you've got a wee smelly bobby, or a big smelly bobby, get a fucking grip yourself. Is this what we've got me? We're 65 episodes in, and we're talking about fanny candles, and if you've got a smelly bobby, is it time for us to go on a break in this podcast? I need to fucking cleanse my mind. I need to de-stress. There needs to be other things to talk about than this. Fuck's sake. Oh, if you just light a candle that says "This smells like my vagina" and put it on the coffee table, it's kind of a punk rock statement, she said. Again, do they understand what punk rock is? Is that what these people think punk rock is? I'm just going to light a fanny candle and put it on the coffee table. So punk rock. It was revealed on Goop that the candle had started out as a joke between perfumer Douglas Little and Gwyneth. When they had been working on a fragrance, apparently the Iron Man actress blurted out, "Oh, this smells like my vagina." And well, the candle's name was born. Fans will know that there has since been a follow-up to the vagina candle, with Goop offering customers the chance to smell her arsehole. And I'm kidding. A new range launched by Goop to follow the very successful This Smells Like My Vagina, now followed up by Gooch and Anus. You can buy the 3 in a party pack. This Smells Like My Anus. The follow-up candle is actually called This Smells Like My Orgasm. Fucking honest to God, people make me sick. It's described on the site as fitting follow-up to the candle, you know the one. There you go. The Metro has reached out to Gwyneth's representatives and a spokesman for Goop. Sadly, they were unable to comment. There's a surprise. There is a surprise. I don't imagine Gwyneth Paltrow and the Fanny Candle people are sitting with a pulses going, I've got the fucking Metro on the phone. Gwyneth, the Metro. That's the free shitey paper you get in the train. You want to talk about the woman who's your Fanny Candle caused an inferno in the house? I'll put her through. Oh, in the name of God. Right, let's finish this one up, this episode up. This is a news story that was suggested to by Stephen Harry Wilson. Stephen, thank you for it, man. As I said, if you're not already on the Patreon, please do consider becoming a Patreon of the show. Patreon.com/Big Scott Gibson. Every single Sunday, an episode of the Sunday service, the Patreon only podcast, is available. So, like I said, every single Sunday, an extra episode goes out to the Patreonies called the Sunday service, and it's a belter. It's a great one. The last episode there that went out was a great episode. So do come over, become a patron, support the show. You can sign up for as little as $5 a month. Which I believe is less than £1 a week by the time the all the transfers and all the bullshit happens. So do that. Patreon.com, patreon.com/Big Scott Gibson. The links are on the website and also on the social media pages. Right, this is the there's a news story that Stephen sent over. I'm going to finish on this one, and the headline is as follows: Bang Fastics. Mum suffers face burns after scoffing many fireworks she mistook for sweets. In the name of God, have we reached the bottom of humanity? I think we may have. Now, the interesting thing about that headline is that it describes the woman as a mum, as a mother, as if that somehow carries a gravitas, as if, how on earth could a mother have been so stupid to do that? Some of the daftest people I know are mothers. Since when did being a mum suddenly give you this air of fucking divinity that I can't believe the woman's a mother and she's eating fireworks? That's shocking. Now, again, this story is from the Sun newspaper, the shitest of all shite rags. So you can expect this kind of journalism from the fucking absolute disease, cancer-ridden bags of human waste that work at the Sun newspaper. The headline's as follows: a mother suffered face burns after scoffing a handful of many fireworks she thought were sweets. A lot of question marks are being raised very early on in this news article, I understand. Now, how she thought they were sweets, I don't know. I'm trying to get the picture back up here. Let me just get the picture instead of turn the headline off. There we go. In the picture here, she's holding the fireworks. It clearly says fun snaps. Now, I don't know how many sweets you can get that are in a box shaped like that. I don't know. I mean, if I was to pick up a box that looked like that, the last thing I'd be saying to myself is, I'm going to put that in my mouth. Now, maybe this mother, is less worried about what goes into her mouth than I am. I don't know the woman, can't possibly comment. But I would say is if I found a box of sweets like that, I'd think they've been in there for clearly a long time. They're going in the bin. But no, this renegade thought, hey, they're going in my fucking gob. Lisa Boothroyd, 48. Wow. It's been a tough 48, Lisa. It says she found the multicoloured box of Fun Snaps among the lollipops in Cost Cutter. Right, so it's Cost Cutter's problem now. Everybody's got somebody to blame. She chomped at some at home thinking it was popping candy, but it exploded, leaving her in agony with chemical burns to her lips and gums. Now, I have never eaten fireworks. I know that might be difficult to believe, but it's true. I wouldn't think necessarily if I ate a firework that it would explode in my mouth. Now, is this actually a box of poppers, like bangers? You know, like the wee paper bangers you get, and you'd throw them and they would explode. That's to me, that's what this sounds like. She's eating a box of bangers. They're not fireworks, they're bangers. The woman has found them in, I believe she said cost cutters. I'll just double check that because it's important. Cost cutter, yep, she's in cost cutter, trying to cut costs. She's picked up a box of what she believes to be popping candy amongst the lollipops. And she's chomped down on them. And what a pop the candy has. And it's left her with chemical burns to her lips and gums. Now, if there's blame, there's a claim. I would say the blame lies with Lisa, but I imagine she's trying to do her best with cost cutter. She also suffered a cracked tooth. Although, by the look of the teeth, I think the heroin may have softened those teeth up. She said it felt like her mouth was on fire. She should have lit a fanny candle and allowed the scent to calm her down. For weeks, she could barely eat or sleep after eating a box of poppers, bangers, whatever the fuck they're called. She was prescribed strong painkillers, and a month on, the burns have yet to heal, but she's still waiting for a dental appointment. Oh, Lisa. Lisa, unemployed mum of one, right? Warwick's, said the fun snaps were with all the other sweets. All the other sweets. Excuse me, shopkeeper. I have found this taser in amongst the Turkish delights and the lollipops. Can I assume that this is actually a sweetie and I'm going to put it up my bum and fucking electrocute myself? I mean, just because you find something among... How many times have you walked around a supermarket? I do it quite often. I walk around the supermarket and I'll see like a tin of soup in amongst the crisps, you know? And I'll go, oh, my first thought as a logical person is, somebody's got to this point, they've weighed up the options, went, I can either get a tin of Heinz tomato soup or I can buy a bag of Kris. Fuck it, the Kris went, and they put the soup back. I don't turn around and go, oh, look at that. Heinz have got tomato soup flavoured crisps in a tin. You fucking dick, Lisa. It's time to start calling a dick a dick. Make dicks dicks again. That's my fucking slogan for this one. Make dicks dicks again. This shouldn't be a story. This should just be, you're a fucking moron. Who picks up a box of bangers and then puts one in their mouth and goes, Jesus Christ, that's some fucking force on that popping candy? I mean, she's obviously eaten enough of them that has burnt her gums and cracked her tooth, apparently. I just keep thinking, what could have happened if I'd given them to a child? They could have blown their mouth apart. First of all, highly unlikely, Lisa. Second of all, I imagine a child would have known quite quickly that they were not indeed sweeties. Fun snaps have a tiny quantity of explosive inside twisted paper, right? So it's the bangers. The friction-sensitive chemical detonates when stepped on or thrown on a hard surface, making a small bang. The box reads, Fun Snaps, along with Snap, Crackle, Bang in capital letters, which led Lisa to assume it was popping candy. Well, that's an assumption you made, and you are wrong. Cost Cutter said, we've spoken to the independent retailer who operates in the store, a Cost Cutter brand, and they have assured us they will remove the item from the confectionery section with immediate effect. End of story. It's quite amazing, really, that everything that's continuing to go in the world, and you've still got, journalists, hard hitters out there. Should we cover the upcoming inauguration? Should we talk about the fact that the UK is now number one for death rate per capita in the world? In the world! Ahead of Slovenia, Slovakia, Latvia. No. Lads, I've got the story. 58-year-old woman's eating a box of bangers. In the name of fucking God, hold the front page. Lisa, I hope you make a speedy recovery. And from the other picture that was attached to the article, the teeth in question and the gums, may I suggest that you put down the brown. You have a young son, as the article says. Live for your family. Heroin is not the answer. Stephen, thank you very much indeed for that. That's got the blood pumping, man. That's got the anger levels up. Nothing like a junkie eating a box of bangers. Nothing like a junkie eating a box of bangers to bring us all together and to finish off another episode. Team 65 in the bag. If you're on the Patreon, you've already had over 100 episodes, but we are getting ever steadily towards our 100th. 65, 25th episode. No, sorry, 45th. Get it right, Scott. 45th episode since lockdown began. It looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better. So those of us who are following the rules, keeping safe, doing our bit, keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. And when we're set free, when we're let loose, it will be all more sweeter when we can enjoy our time together. Listen to the show, share it, subscribe, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts if you can be asked. Tell people about it. And if you have not yet joined the Patreon, then please do become a rascal today. Go to patreon.com/Big Scott Gibson. Sign up for as little as $5 a month, less than the price of a fucking coffee, and enjoy all the extra content, plus access to the Sunday service episodes. Until next week, team, stay safe, wash your hands and your arsehole, and I'll hopefully see you on a battlefield very soon.